New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
And as the thousands cheer in the background, hello there, greetings. It is Friday's evening's Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am the Reverend Michael Mangus, and I am broadcasting this evening from the secret radio room surrounded by thousands of watts in the secure concrete bunker. Only one person, that is Diego Reyes, only he knows where it's at. Everyone else, including my guest this evening, even though he thinks he knows where it's at, the Reverend Jeff Radcliffe, even he does not know where the top secret concrete bunker is located, and we're going to keep it that way. Well, hi there. Welcome this evening to our Fireside Chat. We are recording early, so if you are commenting, please do so. We will comment later on, either tonight or next week, on your wonderful comments. But please feel free to comment. And for all those people out there who are shy, I know you're out there, go ahead, leave me an email, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. I do read them during the week. And again, love your comments, pro or con. Okay, so pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. So the purpose of our Fireside Chat, our weekly gathering here, is to talk about contemporary issues from a spiritual New Thought perspective. And as I keep saying, week after week, I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on in the world and our part that we can play to make it a world that does work for everyone. So again, it's my viewpoint. It's my opinion. It's that of my guest. Again, take what you like and leave the rest, as they say in the 12-step program. But start thinking about the whole idea of oneness and how we can use that oneness to create a world that does work for everyone. Back again because he is such a wonderful guest. And because he works inexpensively. All the way from Tennessee is my friend, the Reverend Jeff Radcliffe. Jeff is an ordained divine science minister, also a former broadcaster. Well, I don't know about former because I'm going to put him to work on New Thought Radio. So we're going to talk about the Supreme Court rulings today, also about Pride Month, all the crazy stuff that's going on, and anything else that Jeff wants to talk about. Again, Reverend Jeff Radcliffe will be featured here in the second half of our program. I'd like to wish each and every one of you a happy 4th of July weekend here. In the United States, the Independence Day is a federal holiday in the U.S. commemorating the Declaration of Independence, which was ratified by the Second Continental Congress on July 4th, 1776, establishing the United States of America. The founding father delegates of the Second Continental Congress declared that the 13 colonies were no longer subject and subordinate to the monarch of Britain, King George III. That's King George III, not the present, not King Charles III. Okay. And we're now a united, free, and independent state. So the Congress voted to approve independence by passing the Lee Resolution on July 2nd, and then adopted the Declaration of Independence 2 days later on July 4th. Independence Day is commonly associated with fireworks, parades, barbecues, carnivals, fairs, concerts, baseball games, family reunions, political speeches, and also tractor pulling. Oh, I was going to go to a tractor pull tonight, I must admit, but the air quality around here is not very good. So I think I'm just going to stay at home tonight, okay? And listen to everyone else blow off the fireworks. In other news here, and again, what I just talked about, more than a third of the U.S. population is under some sort of air quality alert due to the smoke from the Canadian wildfires. You can even see it outside here in Ohio. Officials are urging people to take safety precautions week after similar wildfire smoke blanketed the Northeast. Over 120 million people are under the alert in more than a dozen states from the Midwest to the East Coast. And some of the worst air quality, which is classified as unhealthy, is centered over Chicago, our area of the Cleveland, Akron, Ohio region, Detroit, and also Indianapolis. Some improvement is expected, though, today, particularly over the Great Lakes area, where rain and storms will help cleanse the air. Canada is seeing its worst fire season on record with over, now get this, 500 fires raging across the country, according to fire officials. All right. The Supreme Court today hit the fan. It's trying to end up its session here, and so they've come out with two rulings. We may possibly talk briefly about the third, probably more with Jeff on this one. But the first ruling, it says the Supreme Court says that colleges and universities can no longer take into consideration race as a specific factor for admissions, a landmark decision that overturns longstanding precedent historically benefiting Black and Latino students in higher education. However, the ruling still allows colleges and universities to consider an applicant's discussion on how race has affected their life as long as it is concretely tied to a quality of character or a unique ability. Dissenting members of the High Court insisted that it would make it practically impossible for colleges to consider race at all. Civil rights leaders and also education advocates say that the ruling will be damaging to educational institutions. The White House has been preparing for months for this eventuality, and also President Joe Biden has directed the College of Education to develop a list of best admission practices for colleges to maintain a diverse student population. And then former President Mike Pence opened his mouth and stuck his foot in it. Mike Pence says that his kids are somehow proof that affirmative action is no longer needed. I don't make this stuff up, okay? I don't need to make this stuff up. Former Vice President Mike Pence, I'm laughing because it's just unbelievable. He bizarrely pointed to his own white family of college graduates while praising the U.S. Supreme Court decision on Thursday to end affirmative action across most institutions of higher education. Speaking from Ukraine on Thursday, the 2024 Republican presidential contender told MSNBC He was grateful to see the conservative majority that we have helped build on the Supreme Court of the United States bring an end to most of affirmative action. Pence said this: there may have been a time 50 years ago when we needed to affirmatively take steps to correct long-term racial bias in institutions of higher education. But Pence says, I can tell you, as a father of 3 college graduates, those days are long over. The words of former Vice President Mike Pence, not me. All right. He goes on to say, and I'm grateful today that the Supreme Court took us one step back to that America that will judge every man and woman on the content of their character and on their own achievement and leave race out of consideration of admissions to higher education. To Mike Pence and others who hold this point of view, and I know that some of you, even in New Thought, hold this point of view. The facts are that in this and other countries, individuals are not judged on the content of their character and their own achievements. One of the judgments that's still around is around what color an individual, their skin tone happens to be. To Mr. Pence and other people, we are still not operating on a level playing field where individuals are judged by their character and achievements. So the reason for affirmative action 50, 60 years ago was to allow individuals of darker skin tone with character and achievement to go ahead and to get admitted into these institutions of education and employment. Now, let me say this too, and this was stated by Michelle Obama. She said that again, that this helps individuals get into these institutions. It doesn't necessarily keep them in. They have to earn that once they get in. All right. I must admit here, I'm one of those white people who thought that everyone was on an equal playing field and that racism was a thing of the past. So then I took a DEI class during ministerial training, and from Wikipedia and also dictionary.com, DEI stands for diversity, equity, and also inclusion. And their definition is it's a conceptual framework that promotes the fair treatment and full participation of all people, especially in the workplace, including populations who have been historically been underrepresented and also subject to discrimination because of their background, identity, disability, and race. Academic study after academic study after academic study done in the past 10 years says that individuals of color still pay higher interest rates and higher prices on things such as homes and cars, and are still discriminated in the hiring process if they have an African or African American sounding name. White privilege is not a myth. I had to learn that. And I started to notice, for example, and of all places, Walmart, where I was waited on quicker than my African Black brothers and sisters. Would I love a society where individuals are judged by their character and achievements? Of course I would. However, Mr. Pence and others, we are not all on the same playing field here. It's not an equal field. Until that day comes, affirmative action is needed. And don't get me started about women not being paid the same as their male counterparts. Vanna White making a big stink about it on Wheel of Fortune. Here she gets paid $3 million, and Pat Sajak gets paid $15 million a year. Well, Pat Sajak is leaving to be replaced by Mr. Sequest, but and also don't get me started about LGBTQ discrimination either. We could be here far past midnight. And if that wasn't enough, the Supreme Court says that Christian business owners can refuse to create same-sex marriage websites. We'll talk more about this with Reverend Jeff here in a few moments, but the Supreme Court ruled on Friday for a Christian web designer in Colorado who refuses to create websites to celebrate same-sex weddings out of religious objections. The 6-3 decision was penned by Judge Neil Gorsuch and joined by Chief Justice John Roberts, Samuel Alito, Amy Coney Barrett, also Brett Kavanaugh, and also Clarence Thomas. Judge Sonia Sotomayor penned a dissent, joined by her liberal colleagues of Elaine Kagan and also Ketanji Brown Jackson. The decision, rooted in free speech grounds, will pierce state public accommodation laws for those businesses who sell so-called expressive goods. It is the latest victory for religious conservatives at the High Court and will alarm critics who feel that the current court is setting its sights on overturning a 2015 decision that cleared the way for same-sex marriages nationwide. All right, my commentary here. The ruling extends what's called the religious exemption into the marketplace. So, again, if I own a business that creates wedding websites, it means that because of religious reasons, I can tell whoever I want that I can't create a website for them because of religious reasons. So what if I believe that interracial marriages goes against my religious beliefs? Judge Clarence Thomas. Does that mean that I can tell an interracial couple to find another vendor? I know this is hard to believe in 2023. However, a couple that I performed their ceremony for over in Pennsylvania told me that they had a very difficult time finding a pastor to perform their ceremony because she was white and he was black. The Supreme Court has opened a can of worms that will allow individuals to discriminate because they personally believe that it is wrong. I shake my head in disbelief. And personally, because I have my New Thought beliefs, I've had challenges getting resources from certain church vendors because I'm not Christian enough. And it's interesting, I still get marketing materials from those Christian vendors. Interesting. Our last story here on the last day of Pride Month. Now, Pride, again, is celebrated all during the summer and into the fall, but Pride flag set on fire. Hudson community comes together. Now, Hudson, from where we are at in the secure concrete bunker, Hudson's around 20 minutes away. towards the northeast of Akron. This is from WJW TV. Hudson police are trying to identify a suspect who set fire to a pride flag earlier this month. It was under the cover of darkness on June 11th that the arsonist crept to the front porch of a home and set the flag on fire. Surveillance photos obtained by Fox 8 News showed that the flag hanging from the pole attached to the house slowly burned for a long period of time. State Representative Casey Weinstein, who lives in Hudson, told Fox 8, "Truly just fortunate that the entire house didn't catch on fire. But this was a deliberate act of bigotry. It was a hate crime, and it could have killed people." Representative Weinstein says that the homeowner is a fellow U.S. military veteran and shared the news about the burning of the pride flag to make it clear that she will not be intimidated. Two wonderful married women living in the same house, I think, with children. However, she also told the state lawmaker that she and her family are concerned about the climate that may have inspired the arsonist to commit the hate crime. Representative Weinstein says that they're worried, they're scared about the divisiveness and the hatred that they're seeing out there being spoken by leaders in our state and in our nation, and they are seeing the effects in their lives. And we have been informed, or Channel 8 has been informed by the Hudson police that they are stepping up their patrols. So in other news here, in Washington, D.C., another pride flag was burned in the past couple of days. The pride flags around the Stonewall Inn Museum were vandalized several times in the past few months. And then we see someone from my local area writing in the opinion section that he sees the burning of pride flags as a protest and not a hate crime. Jeff, is this still on? Is this mic still on? Yeah, okay. I was just making sure here. What the heck are you talking about, sir? Burning a Trump flag, of which I admit that I have had thoughts of, but I would never do, may be seen as a protest. However, burning a pride flag is an act of hate because it affects individuals. We must all keep our voices strong and loud. Interesting news, huh? Oh, man. Well, good evening to everyone across the United States and also around the world. Again, this is Friday evening's Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. We're so glad that you're with us this evening. In just a few moments to comment on the news and any other thing that he would like to talk about, the Reverend Jeff Radcliffe will be with us here in just a moment. Let's do a few announcements and then we'll go to break and then have Jeff on. So yours truly is still parking himself at Summit CSL because they love me, or so they say. For more information, you can go to summitcsl.org. There you will find information about our wonderful Sunday gathering at 10:30 Eastern, at 7:30 Pacific time also. Grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso, whatever wakes you up, and please join us. We really do have one of the best services, I believe, in New Thought. And this Sunday, our speaker will be New Thought Media superstar and all-around nice guy, the Reverend Michael Mangus. As the thousands cheer, go to summitcsl.org for more information how to join our Zoom call. Our service is also simulcast on the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page, Our Facebook page also has past broadcasts of the Fireside Chat and also yours truly when he is praying on the New Thought Media Network. We have so many things that are going on here at the network, and many of those that we're going to tell you here in just a few weeks. We've had so many doors open to us that it's unbelievable. And going through those doors costs money. We're asking you to help us. We're doing a film at the Parliament of World Religions. We're also going to be providing the video streaming for also the International New Thought Alliance and also the associated New Thought Network coming up here. We have an extremely busy summer, plus also sharing with you some wonderful programming and other programming channels that we will tell you here in the next few weeks. If you do support us financially now, I want to thank you, because it's really going a long way to help us get the message out there. And for those of you who haven't yet, please go to ntmedia.org/donate. Please consider a very generous one-time gift, or do like I do and become a sustaining donor every single month, right out of my checking account. Automatically comes an amount of money that again goes to support our network. Sustaining gifts help us to put together budgets so that we know that the money is coming in so that we can go ahead and pay salaries, pay transportation fees, and also to go through these open doors that we are being presented with. So help us out, please. Because again, you get that double blessing, not only that feeling good that you have given, but also that you are really affecting the whole planet by giving people an opportunity to see what was just available at a local center on their computer screen. Help us out, please, if you could. ntmedia.org/donate. And thank you so very much. All right. Time to sell some soap, as Reverend Jim Webb would say. So we're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we will be right back with Reverend Jeff Radcliffe. This is the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on your, and I mean your, New Thought Media Network.
Watch me change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
All right. Jeff Ratcliffe, I don't think we have anything to talk about tonight. What do you think?
We've got absolutely nothing going on.
Absolutely
we
nothing.
Pack it up and go home. Oh,
Reverend,
wait. We are home.
We are home. You're
I'm
right. Reverend Jeff Ratcliffe is my friend, also fellow clergy, also from the Tennessee area, right near Nashville, Tennessee. How far away are you from Nashville?
It's like, what, 35 or 40 miles? We're kind of northwest of Nashville.
Northwest, okay.
Yeah. I live near Clarksville, Tennessee, which is currently the 5th largest city in Tennessee. But because it's growing so quickly, it's about 7,000 away from being the 4th largest city in Tennessee, because it's going to overtake Chattanooga for that spot. So
Wow.
look for that within the next probably 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, I have to show you this. Okay, so you know I produce other programs here on the New Thought Media Network.
Yeah, you cheat on me with other programs. I know.
Diego left us. He's doing some things on the side. But, you know, what happened was
he got run out of town on a rail, so, you know.
No, he did not. He is currently up at Camp Cedar Ridge. But I wanted to share with you.
Same difference, right?
Camp Cedar Ridge is really nice. Okay. I wanted to share with you this. This is from our blooper reel. This happened last Sunday evening here on the New Thought Media Network.
Wow, I blew Jim away. I tell you, the energy is powerful here tonight. I'm sending out the waves. And, you know, in this work, we pay attention to the field. So I knocked your socks off. I blew you away. And literally, you know, it's like there's no accidents. Everything happens for a reason. In this work, we pay a lot of attention to what shows up in the field. And literally, it's beautiful when you're doing work that's powerful enough to blow them away, to knock the roof off the joint. And so we're seeing some of that here. And, you know, this work has powerful impact. It really is felt deeply, and it moves people in powerful ways. And we're seeing that.
I was literally bowled over by the work we've been doing.
Yeah.
Oh, Jim, that was good.
Okay, now I did not notice it, but Shay, who has a show here on the New Thought Media Network and one of our regular viewers, she said that, and I already knew this, that Jim wears his shorts and dresses up in a suit and tie. And she saw your shorts. Now, I did not see that.
We're talking short pants and not under.
Both. It's whatever he feels like it. Listen, no. That was funny. I just had to tell you. I had to share that with you. I thought that you would get a big kick out of that.
He was a good sport about it, though. I mean, yeah.
Well, he's the one that put the blooper reel up. So he went ahead and cut out my work. All right, Jeff, let's quit kidding around here. What the heck is going on in our country, especially with the Supreme Court? Have they lost their minds?
They have lost whatever marbles they were playing with. I mean, I have no clue. And what's interesting is I found an article today where John Roberts, who is Chief Justice, um, uh, ended their majority opinion striking down the student debt relief plan by President Obama, or I'm sorry, President Biden. He said that how did he put it? It's become a disturbing feature of some recent opinions to criticize the decisions with which they disagree as going beyond the proper role of the judiciary. He was saying that in response to what Justice Kagan had authored in the liberal justice's dissent of striking down the student loan relief plan. Well, and it's my opinion that Elena Kagan is one of my heroes now, simply because, well, she's calling him out. She's calling out the entire right wing of the Supreme Court because they're pretty much on the take now. I mean, we've got two justices now who shall remain nameless, but we all know who they are, taking money from rich people, going on vacations and having them pay for tuition for their grandnephew.
No.
Yeah. And so, when they speak out against this, and now they're speaking out against, something else, it kind of stings because it shows that Chief Justice Roberts is really not in control of the court.
Right.
He's just letting them do whatever. And then when they get called out on it, he's just so totally offended. He's like, who, me? Which is not good. Not good.
Well, we'll talk about the web designer here in just a moment. But there was also another, which I thought was interesting. There was a ruling this week as the court concludes its session for the year on a Christian mail carrier who was fired from or let go from his position because he would not work on what he considered his Sabbath or Sunday.
Right.
And the Supreme Court ruled unanimously in favor of him. So that's going to be really interesting, especially with Amazon and with other with FedEx and other groups and who do deliver on Sundays. Is that if you're attending church, you can go ahead and say, well, listen, I have a religious exemption. Your comments, Reverend Jeff Radcliffe.
Well, there has never been a job that I've had in the private sector where they didn't say you may be required to work such and such a schedule on such and such days. You need to be available for those things. So it's not like this guy walked into that job blindly. And why? And I'm not sure exactly how long he has worked for the post office, but why all of a sudden is it coming to such great importance to him? Or did he just recently find this faith that needs to make sure that he rests on Sabbath and keeps it holy? I take a dim view of it, basically. Back when the same-sex marriage issue was really picking up steam, and everybody kept talking about, we don't want to give special rights. Well, guess what? We're getting special rights now, but it's only if you're a Christian, if you're conservative, if you're evangelical. You are the ones being catered to. You are the ones who have the quote unquote activist judges working on your behalf, and you're the ones who are getting the special treatment that you were so afraid that the queers and the women and the brown people and the black people were going to get to supplant you as victims. I don't get it. I think the Supreme Court's they're so messed up now, and a lot of it has to do with the former Senate Majority Leader and some of the shenanigans that he pulled. And shenanigans is not the SH word that I would like to use in this instance. But
Right.
this
You've been
is all
called to the
politically
carpet for our
motivated.
language, Reverend Radcliffe.
Yeah.
So we have to watch. We can call them sons of bishops.
Mm. Yeah.
Go ahead.
But the Supreme Court is now totally in the back pocket of the GQP.
You mean GOP?
And their rulings
or
show that.
GOP?
QAnon.
GQP. Okay.
QAnon.
Oh, QAnon. Okay, gotcha. Oh, bingo.
It's not just the It's not just the GOP anymore. They are firmly being controlled by such as many of the far right wingers as can get their little claws into them. So
right.
It's rather disheartening to see. But and I look on social media and I see, well, what can we do to change this? Or we need to do things to change it. Well, I'll tell you what we need to do. We need to get off of our butts and go out there and vote.
Yes.
And if you know people who are as dismayed by this and as disturbed by these things as you are, you need to get them out to vote as well.
The reason that we have the situation that we do, and this includes with Roe versus Wade from last year, this includes today's rulings, is because that elections have consequences, and that the grand old party and their philosophy has gotten into, again, they've went ahead and they opened again a window and put all these justices in the court now that, like the Chief Justice Roberts was saying again, that they don't like being criticized.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Oh, no, that everybody else criticizes all the other two branches of government. Why can't we criticize the judicial? So go ahead.
Something else that boggles the imagination, it boggles my mind, is that every other judge in this country has a code of ethics that they follow. Even the federal judges have a code of ethics that they follow. The only judges in this country that do not follow a code of ethics are the Supreme Court.
Right. Absolutely.
Where's the parity in that?
There's been several, again, allegations brought up about especially Judge Clarence Thomas over the past several months about him taking trips.
And now Justice Alito.
Mm-hmm. Right. So again, that we need to hold everyone accountable. That's the only thing. So, Reverend Jeff, what is your opinion about the Supreme Court saying that Christian business owners can refuse to create same-sex wedding cakes, websites, or whatever that they darn well please?
Well, this last case that they just ruled on had to deal with websites. And the court did not get the entire story. The woman who sued really didn't have any standing to sue because she may be a web designer, but she has never created a wedding website for anybody. What this was a preemptive strike on her part to say, oh, I don't want to do that. And I'm not going to speculate on why she decided to be part of this, whether she's being backed by, dark money back in the background, whatever. But the woman has never, ever made a website for a wedding. So why make a big deal over a same-sex wedding if you've never done it for anybody?
Yeah. And so what? Okay. So again, I'm a baker. Okay. And a man and woman comes in and says, we're having a wedding. We would like you to do our wedding cake. And I say, oh, no. My religious views, I only support same-sex weddings and I don't support heterosexual weddings. I'm sorry. Under that ruling, I could do that because that's a part of my religious beliefs. I think it's going to backfire on them. Personally, I mean, I think this is going to really, this is really going to bite everyone in the behind. Because again, if you go ahead and you say, well, because of my religious beliefs, I can't do certain things. Well, now there is a religious exemption that, for example, a church organization, it has to be a church organization that says, okay, I'm thinking of Moody Radio. All right. I'm just, out of all the other Christian broadcasters, they're coming to mind because they had an ad up in the broadcast magazines and websites that said that they wanted someone to be their chief engineer up there. So they went ahead and they put all the technical requirements down there. And then they also had a requirement that you had to belong to a local church, that you had to have a letter from your pastor. And also, I think in some cases you have to prove that you are a Christian or had a born again experience. Now, this has nothing to do with the technical aspects of putting the radio station on. None. But again, because of that, if let's say a gay man would go in there, or a lesbian would go in there, extremely qualified, and I know some, extremely qualified, technically, astute, more credentials behind their name than Carter has pills. That if they would go in there and they would say, well, here's a letter from my pastor, and it happens to be a gay congregation, they won't do it. Or if the individual does not, let's say the individual's a Muslim and has all the qualifications, who I know, some, my friend Rhea has more degrees than, again, a lot of individuals who would be qualified to do that. They wouldn't even consider them and that's allowed under the religious exemption. And that, I know for me, trying to get things for the ministry, like, for example, like websites or social media marketing or training, when they find out that my Christian beliefs, and I put that in quotes, do not match up to theirs, they can refuse me without any kind of repercussion. Your thoughts, Reverend Jeff Radcliffe?
I don't like it. It is what it is. I don't like it. I think it's wrong. It's discriminatory. But I think that they would probably end up using the same logic that any other employer might, where if you lie on your resume or if you lie on your application, that's grounds to fire you. I think that they would find a way. They would find a way to justify not hiring you, or they would justify firing you if you did not fit that religious requirement of theirs. It's not right. It's not what this country was built on, I don't think. We came to this country and set it up, to avoid religious persecution.
Right.
Well, you know what? The religious people are not being persecuted in these instances.
Right.
They're the ones doing the persecuting. And what's interesting is when it comes to what's going on with the Supreme Court and all the weird stuff that's going on with them and the rulings that they're making, brought to mind a scripture from that Paul had written in his first letter to the Thessalonians, where he said, and this is a quote, "Abstain from all appearance of evil." Well, we've got a court that can't even do that, but they're wanting to pass rulings that allow other people to not even abstain from the appearance of evil. we're going to hell in a handbasket,
I know. Well,
basically. Disney
so-
should make this into a ride.
if DeSantis lets them. How about
Yeah.
the affirmative action ruling today?
Oh, for heaven's sake. Vice President Cream Cheese Pence needed to keep his big mouth
Now,
shut.
Reverend Radcliffe.
Hey, look, I recognize that God is everywhere, and I recognize that each one of us are expressions of that divine oneness. We are individualizations of God. But lately, we're seeing God showing up in a whole bunch of stupid people. I mean, seriously. Some of the weirdness that we got going on, trying to justify racism and homophobia, and it's just crazy. And now here we've got a white guy who has a few bucks in his pocket, was able to pay for his kids to go to school. They didn't need affirmative action. They would never, even if he had been dirt poor on a farm in rural wherever, they wouldn't have needed affirmative action.
No,
they're white. I mean, that's not what affirmative action was all about. So you cannot use race to help somebody to get into, a college or whatever. However, it's okay if that person who needs a little bit of boosting is a legacy, meaning their father, their grandfather, their mother, their grandmother, whoever had been a student.
All right.
Or, if mommy or daddy gave a boatload of money.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's affirmative action in the other direction. And that's okay. Those people, the legacies especially, or the donors, don't need affirmative action because why? The majority of them, I would say probably 99% of them are white.
Yes.
They don't need the affirmative action. And affirmative action is not going to get you into college. It will just level the playing field if you qualify to get into that specific university.
Absolutely.
It's not like they're bypassing white people in favor of Asians and black people and brown people and, whatever.
And like Michelle Obama says, she says, that doesn't, that gets you in the door. But now you have to prove yourself. Okay. So you aren't, again, that'll get you in the door, but that's not a guarantee that you're going to stay. I think this also, Vice President or former Vice President Pence, his comments brings up again the whole idea of that we don't understand that people of light complexion or white, they do have privilege. And I see, I never thought this up to maybe even 5 years ago. I thought we were all on the same playing field, that, that again, affirmative action and that the rulings made through the Civil Rights Act, that leveled the playing field. Boy, was I in for a rude awakening when my diversity teacher said, "Here, I want you to read some books and come back to me." And what I realized was that I do have privilege. And again, I just with the example of going to Walmart. So here I'm at Walmart of all places. And there's 2 African-American men to the side. I'm there. They were there first. And I get waited on. So don't tell me that you do not have privilege, okay? Because you do. And again, if racism was completely eliminated, I would see, again, maybe we don't need affirmative action. But see, that's the challenge, is it's still not eliminated. And again, that a very talented African-American student with a 4.5 GPA at her high school or his high school is not on the same playing field as their white counterpart getting into the same institution.
Exactly. And I have seen these arguments before, and I'm sick to death of them. Every February, it's, well, why don't we have White Appreciation Month? Why is it always Black History Month and not White History Month? Well, guess who writes the history books? The winner writes the history. You know, whether it's the winner of the war or the winner of the culture, you write the history. White people have always been on top. Right. They don't need their own month, you know, like African Americans do. And then June comes around, and why do the homos and the LGBTQs and the lesbians and all this get a month, you know? And where's Straight Appreciation Month? Where's our Straight Pride Month? Every freaking month is Straight Pride Month for you people, just like every freaking month is White Pride people for you people. Do you not get it? What part of that do you need me to sit down and lovingly reach over and tap you on the forehead and ask you, are you in there? Do you not get this? Why do you not get it? Do you not see that you have had the breaks that people of color have not had, that people of the rainbow have not had?
Right.
It's all God in expression. I keep telling myself that. But God is, like I said earlier, God is sure showing up in some interesting ways.
You're not going to believe this.
And it's a challenge to the rest of us to try not to let it get too much under our skin. And I have to admit, I'm probably a little more inflammatory than somebody else. I'm a Scorpio. I feel my feelings deeply. And I'm also a Leo rising. I'm ready to put those feelings out there for everybody to see. So I do have a bit of a filter, but I just don't hide it as well as some folks. It is what it is.
You're not going to believe this. We're out of time.
No, already? You get me started on these really juicy topics. And
I know.
Drug out for money.
I know.
2-hour show.
Yeah, but see, you don't have the Monday afternoon meeting, the weekly Monday afternoon meeting that I go to.
You tell Robert,
Chief Inspirational Officer Robert Brzezinski.
Yeah, you tell Reverend Robert I said to cut you some slack.
Okay, all right, that's good. I'll tell you what. Write me a letter to home office and tell them what a wonderful person I am. Yeah,
I will do that.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Jeff Radcliffe. Thank you so very much. Yeah, we'll have you back on. And again, my appreciation to you, my brother, for all that you do, and for speaking up, speaking out. Many ministers don't. So I really appreciate you again being out there and standing for moral and ethical values and spiritual.
Honey, I'm so far out on the limb I can hear the wood crack. So
all right,
and happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, time for us to get out of here. I know, an hour flies by quick here. So again, if you could go to ntmedia.org/donate. Again, please, we appreciate every one of you who have been donating. And if you have not given, please let this be your invitation to give here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 or more dollars per month really makes a huge difference in us, again, being able to go through these open doors that we have presented to us daily. So again, ntmedia.org/donate. On behalf of all of us, including the Reverend Jeff Radcliffe, I am Reverend Michael Mangus, and I'm going to wish you a wonderful weekend, a wonderful 4th of July, and a wonderful week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.